How are you guys hearing me? I've switched microphones to my cheapy microphone, which seems to be doing the trick. Thank you all so much for your patience and hanging around. I'm really grateful for that. I was appearing on Scott Balson's channel, Loving Life, and I just wrapped up there, so my apologies for being late. It was not intentional to keep you waiting. It was not some ploy to see what's happening. Lali Dutoy just subscribed. Well, thank you so much for subscribing, Lali. I appreciate that. So let me go ahead and get my chat open here so I can deal with chat as it comes across. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard once again to Adopt Africa. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope that wherever you find yourself tonight and today, it's late afternoon here, but evening in many other parts of the world, that you're doing well and that things are going okay for you. So whether that's UK, Ireland, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, South Africa, Sawubona, South Africa, Hoyanant, Dumelo, Botswana. Good to see everybody there. Thank you so much for coming in. It looks like I lost all my viewers. A lot of people disappeared, or my Streamlabs is lying to me. It says almost nobody's here. Just a moment ago it said there were 20 and now it says there's 5 people. What's going on there? Is that actually the true reflection? No, it says now there's 55. I think Streamlabs is lying to me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Whether it was 5 of you or it was 55 of you or 550. Yeah, sorry, Wesley. No Giselle because I started late. I'm not going to keep you waiting 3 minutes. There will be Giselle on the back end when we wrap it up. Hank Aviance says, nice stream with the fart Scott. Okay, all right, that's what he says. Robin says hello. Well, welcome, folks. I'm glad you tuned in. I'm glad to see folks joining the stream here today. And is it Sunday? I think it's Sunday. Yes, it's Sunday. It is Sunday. Hey, there's Ben Hashem. Welcome, Ben. Yeah, so how's the microphone? Are you guys okay? Eugene Hartsleeve just subscribed. That's a cool surname. I love that, Hartsleeve. Cool. Wesley just got my family to like her. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I say, so give me some feedback on the mic, folks. Yes, no, mic is okay. You guys can hear it because I'm using a different one. I'm not using this expensive one, which was dodgy yesterday. Scott sent me a link. Okay. Oh, Scott's sending me links in Skype. I thought it was closed Skype. Yeah, so the sound is good. It's not as nice as usual. The sound, Yanni, is that what you're talking about? Once again, watching for your iPhone. Oh, can hear you just fine. Sound is good. It's okay. All right, yeah, I don't know. I think that what was happening with this microphone yesterday, and I'm just going to try this one today, just for now. Let me move it up here. Maybe if I can stick it on my beard, it might be a little bit better. But this thing here, I plugged into a different USB port yesterday, and I think that might have been the problem yesterday. And somebody just subscribed or somebody become a member there. Let me see what happened just there. Somebody came up. I missed it. Sound is okay. It's good, but not great. Yeah, that's why I went with this microphone here, guys, because it has great sound when it works. But it was dodgy yesterday. Listen, and all the times that people have said that they couldn't hear before when I've had a stream, I've gone back and listened to it and never had a problem. But yesterday, I listened to Ramon and in fact, my mic did spike and drop off and do this, that, and the other, even when I was talking into it. So I looked at it, and it was plugged into a different USB port, so maybe that was the problem. So maybe I'll do a test stream later on and just check the microphone out, see what happens like with that. Sound like you're in the bathroom. Yeah, that's the thing. So, all right, is it annoying? Is the sound okay? Should I stick with it, or do you want me to try to switch back to the other microphone? Because I could try that. There's Nigel. Nigel must be on the iPhone again because you're not coming up as a member. All right. It could be the Windows drivers. Yeah, it could be lots of things. Fawn says sounds good. Okay. All right. Yeah, Hank is saying having a shuspia. No beer time. No, you guys are off on the always. Jeff Bartlett, I believe, subscribed to the channel. Well, thank you for joining our subscription base there, Jeff. Really appreciate it. Lezan says the sound is weird. It's very loud, massive echo. Yesterday's was better. Okay. Well, let me turn this down. Let me adjust that. Okay. Hakan Engman just subscribed to the channel. And there goes the zombie trying to climb the Mahalisberg. Thank you so much for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, the reason I was a few minutes tardy is I was appearing on Scott Balson's Loving Life channel. The gentleman is based in Australia. And we talked about South Africa and about the U.S. and about other geopolitical events. And I hope those who were there enjoyed it. And apologies for not getting to all the questions. There were plenty of them we didn't get to. But if anybody was over on that channel and would like to ask one of those questions here, I'll try to address it here if possible, if I didn't get around to it. Let's see. Harvard just dropped the standardized test for admissions. Well, there you go. Even Harvard is dumbing down. I'm glad I didn't go to school there. William Vandervalt says, when is Big Daddy Liberty coming on your show? I don't know, William. I do know that I've been in touch with him, and we're trying to work it out, and hopefully it will be sometime soon. In the meantime, this week I will have Scott Balson from Loving Life on Friday night on my stream. I'm also negotiating with a PR firm owner in South Africa to talk about changing the narrative about Africa. Hopefully I'll get her on this week as a special feature. And Major General Johan Just will be a guest on my program this week. I'll try to set that up for Wednesday or Thursday if possible, maybe sooner. And I'll let you know. I'll post those as soon as possible. By the way, I put some video shorts out there. I hope people like those. A couple were for members only, but others were for the general public. In fact, one of them is from August, in which I have no beard and I have short hair. So I did notice a lot of comments saying, "Who is this imposter? He looks 20 years younger than the colonel." That imposter is actually me in August. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see. What's this? Ronaldo had a Bianca type person on the show. I didn't see that. Yeah, Gareth, I think you mentioned that on Loving Life thing, but I didn't get a chance to address it. FW pulled out of his ABA speech tantamount to bending the knee. It is bending the knee, and it's shameless pandering, and it doesn't do anything for race relations and for equality by pandering to that nonsense, by taking a knee and acting like that, or appropriating kente cloth as Nancy Pelosi and her fellow members of Congress did. It's shameful, and it means nothing. Same with businesses like General Mills or whoever the company is that owns Aunt Jemima, taking a beautiful black woman off the cover because someone complained about it. You know, we can complain about your bland packaging now, too. You're going to change that? It's not disrespectful to black Americans. And change the name of Eskimo pie because it's called Eskimo pie. Not a good look either. But that's what's happening in this country and around the world. People destroying statues of George Washington, the father of our nation. Can you imagine if we went to Santon and destroyed that oversized statue of Madiba that's at the Santon City Mall? The outrage that would take place for that. Virtually no outrage in this country as people are afraid to speak up about the things that are happening. And that's unfortunate. These small number of insurrectionists and terrorists that are demonizing and terrorizing this country, and their willing accomplices in the mainstream media who distort the facts and lie about America's history and our contemporary events, should all be ashamed of themselves. I saw this video of the woman the other day who was asked about statue of Winston Churchill, and she said, "Well, I don't know if he's a racist. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet." Really? He's been dead for 60 years. That's how uninformed many of these people are. All right, what else do we got here? All right, so hello to everybody. I'm late, so catching up here. The usual suspects are here, and yes, we're looking for Kaiser Sose. In case anybody's wondering, are we looking for Kaiser Sose? So the usual suspects, including Grant. We got the Handy Dutchman is in here. Marius Krukop is in here. Ben Duplessis, Heinrich Becca, Agro, Fonz, Sean. Sean was with Sean, amongst others, was with me over on the Loving Life, I think. Doc Breaker was there too. Bosch Zebra, good to see you. Toasting a drink to you and your good health. Well, thank you so much, Bosch Zebra. I appreciate that. Notice I say zebra and not zebra. We pronounce it zebra, but I know in South Africa you say zebra. Brian says, "Hi, Chris. Just watching a Loving Life and now jumped on board your stream. Greetings from Randburg to you and your." Yes, well, thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for joining us in the Randburg. I've been there. Let's see what else. Maggie, hello. And Heinrich says, "Stop this idle chit-chat and take up your post as U.S. ambassador." Well, I got to be nominated, Heinrich. You know, somebody needs to talk to the Donald about that one. What? No, Giselle. I already addressed that. We'll get to Giselle. Robin McLaren says hello. Hello. Freezing. Yeah. Well, guys, I know you're cold in South Africa, for those in South Africa, so I brought a scarf tonight, even though it's about 23 degrees here. I brought my Springbok scarf just to be in solidarity with you there who are freezing in the Southern Hemisphere. Now the sound won't be good because I covered the microphone up, so I have to take that off. So we just have a little fun with that. Anyway, let me put that back here on the chair. It's my Springbok scarf. Let's see what else we got going on here before I get on to some issues. What else? Who am I missing here? D. Stu, Harvard. Yeah, D. Stu's 1%. Nigel, I already talked about. Michaela T. Hello again, everybody. Michaela, I think you were over in the Loving Life with us. George de Koch. What happened to the world if Trump loses? Well, that's a good question, George. I think if Donald Trump loses in 2020, things are not going to be good around the world for patriots and for honest people who don't have a leftist political agenda. I suspect that we may find ourselves devolving into a long period of economic austerity around the world if governments like the ANC are allowed to turn everything into a state-owned enterprise or destroy legitimate businesses, which has been happening around the world. And with the Donald Trump out there not defending things, I feel concerned about the world. Absolutely. Raymond E says, what, whoa, got ahead of me there. Come back, Raymond. Raymond E says, what do you know about the Libya slave trade? Not much in the media, but lots on Black Lives Matter. Yeah, well, the slave trade is a worldwide phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen. There are at least 50 to 75 million slaves, people living in slavery today around the world. Now, a significant percentage of those people are actually in the sex trade. And there are slaves in South Africa. There are slaves here in the United States who are being bought and sold. Minor children, boys and girls, sold into sexual slavery. American children sold as slaves in the Middle East. Africans sold around the world. And also Europeans, famously Moldovans and Romanians, sold into sexual slavery into Istanbul and Western Europe and even North America. It's really tragic. Also, there are additional slaves who are in labor, who do slave work, children in the Indian subcontinent and other places like that. And the fact that people don't talk about that slavery and act as if the only act of slavery that occurred was a transatlantic slave trade is dishonest, disingenuous, and reprehensible. If you want to talk about slavery, let's talk about ending slavery today. But the problem with ending slavery today is that the people who run the trade are well-connected, wealthy, powerful, and are vicious. And they will target you. And politicians don't take them on by and large. The victories against the slave trade are small, and they're tactical victories. They're rarely strategic victories. And that's unfortunate. Ben Hashem says, I had a question earlier but missed out. Do you think Joe Biden is a placeholder for someone else? It would be foolish to believe he could stand up to Donald Trump. Actually, absolutely, Ben. I think Sleepy Joe is definitely a placeholder, and whoever his vice president selection is who the Democrats want to be president. And Sleepy Joe will either have a mysterious health issue shortly after taking office if he were to win, and or he will resign in office after a year when he can put it on a CV and go to his grave saying, I was president of the United States, which has been his long-term goal. This famous plagiarist and serial liar is the Democratic candidate for president of the United States. That alone should be end of discussion. Donald Trump should be president just based on that alone. They can't bother to bring a genuine candidate to run against Donald Trump. If they had chosen Kamala Harris, as reprehensible as she is, she would be a better candidate than this guy. And she'll probably be someone like that, his vice presidential nominee, because he's going to step aside. So yes, I do think he's a place marker. Mike Simpson also here just subscribed. Well, thank you, Mike, for subscribing. If you subscribed before I came on, I apologize, or if I missed that. Okay, folks, for those who don't know, let me do this. The new folks, if you want, let me put that up. So I had set a member goal of trying to get to 50 members. That's actually not the correct figure. It's higher than that. I just turned on membership this past week because people asked for it, and you get some special features and access to some things if you want to become a member. So I just put that up there. If you'd like to become a member, feel free to do that. You're welcome to join us here in the stream and be part of the community. Let me see. Somebody put that up there. Paint Radiba Med. Yeah, Madiba Red. Yeah, let's not do that, Gareth. Monty says, I agree with Heinrich. You should replace Lana Marks. Well, thank you, Monty. I appreciate that. Marius Crew Comp. You didn't miss. Oh, I didn't miss anything on. Was Bianca's brother. Okay. Mike Simpson, Hendo. Oh, you're talking to Hendo. John Kershaw says, hello, USAF and NRO retired. Oh, so you work in the Air Force and the National Reconnaissance Office. Well, welcome, John. You're probably a wonderful person. It's not your fault that you somehow wound up in the Air Force. I'm just kidding. There's a rivalry between the Army and the Air Force, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know. But welcome. Good to have you here with us, John. Appreciate it. Grot Zot, that's an interesting. Grot Zot. What do you think the reaction to the riots and statue toppling is going to be? Could you please briefly cover social cultural Marxism? I think that there's going to be a very severe backlash against this nonsense that's going to take place, but it's not going to happen immediately, as a lot of people are still unsure what's happening. Only after governors and or mayors begin to take their political position seriously and begin to actually enforce the rule of law, and this starts to be tamped down. We see people arrested, charged, and prosecuted. Will you start to see patriots overwhelmingly start to come back? But the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have a situation in this country which so much of corporate America is pandering and kowtowing to this nonsense, and not real issues. They don't really care about racial equality or equal opportunity. If they did, then these would be things they took seriously, but they don't simply come out because someone has burned a statue and said, we're in sympathy. So the NFL, once again, if the NFL cared, the National Football League, about these issues, why don't they have a television program on their network that's devoted to this issue? When Colin Kaepernick famously disgraced America by taking a knee and was unable to explain why he did it because he's an idiot and only did it because of his woke lunatic girlfriend who convinced him that this was an issue, not that it's not a legitimate issue, but he knew nothing about what he was talking about. Only when Colin Kaepernick did that nonsense did the NFL start to take notice after it got some traction. But they've done nothing. They have a 24/7 cable network in which they could talk about this issue all day long, or at least an hour once a week. And they've never done it. They're not serious. It's all pandering. Roger Goodell, shame on you. Shame on the NFL. I gave the NFL a chance. I was going to be a fan of them this year. Foot sec. No NFL. I don't care. You're not getting my dollars. I'll take it elsewhere. I'll watch ice skating and curling if that's what I have to pay to go watch instead of the NFL. You've shamed yourself, you've shamed this nation, and you've lied about what's happening in this country. So, to heck with you. To heck with you. Let's see what else. So that's. I think there will be a social backlash against this. My concern, is that it will go beyond simply a question of people reacting to what's happening, and that some people will falsely attribute this to a black-white issue on both sides of the aisle, and then will react to it. And some people are already doing that. It's not a black-white issue. That's a distortion of what's going on by people who are the squeaky wheel, and so they get the grease. Let's see. Is the chair doing its job? Yeah, Keith, the chair is fantastic, man. Did you see me on Loving Life? I was like sitting back here, relaxing, all chilled out, Max, and relaxing. I felt like Will Smith, DJ Jazzy Jeff, chilling out, Max, and relaxing. Yeah, it's working. But when I'm using this microphone, I can't do this very well because I'm at the length of the cord. So I'll switch back to my blue one next time, and we'll see what happens. I just want to make sure that people can hear me tonight. So, all right. So. George DeCock says that's his thoughts exactly. Yep, I think we're in agreement with that. People trafficking, absolutely sad stuff. Monkey pushing wood. I like that. Monkey pushing wood. Should Europe continue to follow America's path of multicultural society, and how should people convince the children of Rotherham that multiculturalism is good? Well, okay. No. First off, America's not pushing multiculturalism. There's two things. I was asked this question by Roman Kavanagh yesterday on my stream when he was my guest on my regular Saturday show. And Roman asked the question about inclusiveness and diversity. And I said these are two very caustic words because they're misappropriated and misused. Diversity doesn't mean diversity. Diversity in the minds of most people pushing diversity means one white, one black, one colored, one Indian, one gay, one straight, one Muslim, one Christian. No, that's not diversity. That's fake diversity. Now, there is some merit to the fact that when you have a kaleidoscope of peoples that all the peoples are represented. That's true. But that's not what they want by diversity. So, for instance, ladies and gentlemen, what is the percentage of America's population that's black? Does anyone know? African American. Many people seem to think it's 1/3, 45, 50% of America is black. In fact, of the 330 million Americans in this country, only 45 million are black. 13.5% of the population is black in this country. But you wouldn't know that. Okay, got a lot of people. Some of you guys that's not fair. You guys follow my stream, so I've said that before. So what happens here is that there's a distortion and misleading events that are taking place. Multiculturalism, this country overwhelmingly was white Anglo-Saxon, not necessarily Protestant, but white Anglo-Saxon or Celtic for a long period of time. And that was up until the 1960s, where still 85 to 90% of the country was white, whatever white is in this country. Today, we're still over 70% of the population, and people act as if white people in America are disappearing. No, actually, our numbers are larger than we've ever been. But the thing is, we've opened our borders and let many people come into this country. But being American, this multiculturalism, I think, doesn't apply in the context of America. Let me explain what I mean. In America, being American is not being white or black or Asian, Chinese, Irish. You may be those things, but that's not being an American. Being an American is an idea, an ideal. You accept our cultural norms and mores. And if you're in Texas, that might mean that you have cotillion for your 16-year-old daughter. And if you find yourself in much of the country, it might mean sending your kids to kindergarten, which we got from Germans. If you're Amish, it might mean the fact that you still speak German, 17th century German, at home, and you read your Bible in German. And you don't send your children to public school because you self-educate them, or you send them to local schools that are run by your church. Or it might mean that you're a Ghanaian who came here recently, and on special occasions you wear kente cloth. But you accept the norms, the mores, and the values of this country, and you believe in the Constitution and our rights, our basic rights. That's what being an American is all about. Not toppling statues, not racially dividing people, not lying about America's history. When you see people paint Black Lives Matter on the Veterans Administration, do they really matter? Do they? What about the tens of thousands, if not over 100,000 black Americans who died in service to this nation in combat in all our major conflicts, starting in the American Revolution when Crispus Attucks died in Boston. Do their lives not matter? Why would you deface and disgrace the Veterans Administration? Seriously. Anyway, so yeah, I think I've touched on that. But multiculturalism, the children of Rotherham in the UK, monkey pushing wood, punishing wood, pushing wood. Yeah, listen, the UK until recently wasn't a multicultural society either. It wasn't until the end of the Second World War with the Windrush ship and the series of West Indian immigrants who came to the UK that the cultural character and the ethnic makeup of the UK began to change. You know, famously, the minorities and the people discriminated against weren't West Indians, blacks, or Indians, or others. They were Irish, they were Scots, they were Welsh, they were Catholics in the United Kingdom. But that has changed over time. And so with the Windrush generation, things began to change. But even so, in the early 1990s, of the 56 million people living in the United Kingdom, less than 5 million were people of color, including all those from the subcontinent, Pakistan and India and Bangladesh, which was the majority of them, plus a significant number of Windrush folks. Even today, with the UK having over 60 million people, that figure is still not much larger than that. So the UK is far from multicultural society. However, you can go places like Rotherham. I assume you're talking about Rotherham, which is located right near Sheffield, not too far from Manchester, and you find a large number of people who are not English, for instance, because Rotherham would be part of England, not Scotland or Wales. And so you find large numbers of people who are not English who are there. Yeah, in fact, if you go to, what's the airport north of London? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Lots of blanks today, sorry guys. But one of the, begins with an L, the airport there. You drive to the village there, it's as if you're in the Middle East. There's almost no one who's English walking around in English town. Multiculturalism has its merits, it has its values, but as a political policy or a political ideal, it's not particularly well thought out in my book. So people can say what they want about that. I've lived all over the world. I've been a distinct minority. I've been in a majority. I went to an all-white high school, not because blacks were not allowed to come there, but because people just didn't move there. It was a rural part of Appalachia. It now has black people living in that county that weren't living there when I was a kid. I also went to an all a public school where all my classmates spoke Spanish and were Puerto Rican for the most part. I was the only white kid. I've lived in Africa where I've been surrounded by black Africans. I've lived in Africa where I've been surrounded by Arabs. I've lived in Europe where I've been surrounded by white people. And I've lived in Europe where I've been surrounded by immigrants. So I've lived in all sorts of circumstances. And I figure if you just treat people fairly, then we don't have these problems. But that seems to not be something that works for everybody. Anton LaRue says, welcome from the Cape. Excellent. Heinrich says, are the city of Seattle and LA really that bad socially? No, they have serious issues, especially Los Angeles, which has great weather. And so it's a fantastic location for the homeless to find themselves because you're not going to get rained on very often. It doesn't get cold in the wintertime, and you can live on the streets. Terrence Lowry, will street names and airport names change in America? Like, no. Yeah, that's already happened to some degree, Terrence. I mean, for instance, a lot of streets have been renamed. We have a Malcolm X Boulevard or a Martin Luther King Boulevard in virtually every city in America, which renamed an existing street. There will be some of that, no doubt, but given that the majority of people in this country would likely take issue with renaming places like Washington Street or Jefferson Avenue and things like that, it's unlikely to happen across the country en masse. It would probably happen some places. We'll see. Hendra says all lives matter. Yeah, of course they do, including the unborn. But you can't tell that to a leftist because that's their right to get rid of a fetus. Anton LaRue, hello from a Cape Townian. Ja, dit is omtrent bliksem goed hier zo. Hier zo, that's just like German. What's Parler? Tian's asking what Parler. Parler is an alternative application for conservatives that was created about a year and a half ago, and famously it was an epic fail. When it started, I downloaded and tried to go there because a lot of people being deplatformed from Twitter would go to Parler, and it didn't work. It wasn't particularly effective, good intent, but apparently it's fixed its errors, and I'm going to go take a relook at it, mostly because I think that the discrimination and the abuse and the misogyny directed against Katie Hopkins is unwarranted. I heard the reason she was deplatformed from Twitter, and what she said is something from Blackadder. It's from a television show, and she was deplatformed for it. When she was responding to somebody who said something misogynistic to her, she tongue-in-cheek gave a reply, and that's their basis for defunding her and deplatforming her. Well, that's Twitter's stupidity. That platform will die a death over time. You can't make money when just leftists who don't spend any money inhabit your social media space. So we'll see what happens with Twitter. Yeah, Parler, Sean, it's not the new Twitter. It's trying to be something like that, but it's got a long way to go. But it is working now. So if people want to check out Parler, check out the app and download it. D-Stu says, what do you think about Michelle Obama and Black Lives saying they built America? I didn't hear that, but they're full of crap. I've heard this nonsense for years, and to try to diminish the impact of the hundreds of millions of Americans who came before and claim that when she says they, I suspect she means African Americans. African Americans have been, in fact, a deep part of the history and the development of this country. But to claim that a small percentage of the country is responsible for building the entire country is insane, particularly when that small group was discriminated against and excluded from much of the economic space for a long time. So how did she build it? I think what they're trying to do is take the extension of saying that the 3% of white people in the Confederacy who were slave owners when the Civil War started, who owned slaves and were a distinct minority, those slaves are responsible for building the country. Well, most of those slaves in the South worked on tobacco or cotton plantations, which are not the reason that the country became an industrial powerhouse. That's not the reason. They didn't pick lettuce and maize and things like that. That was done by other folks for the most part. So yes, black Americans have made a serious contribution to America, but to make the claim that the entire country was built by them is just ludicrous. That's ludicrous. But there are lots of famous black African Americans who contributed to our society. George Washington Carver with agricultural techniques. The gentleman named Cleveland, Cleveland's named after the black American who invented the traffic light, was actually invented by a black American. Many, many others who made great contributions to our society. And they denigrate our history by claiming that. So I think she's a clown. Michelle Obama is a privileged elitist who is shameful and disgraceful, and her nonsense when her husband got elected as president. Now I'm proud of my country for the first time. You know what? Flitzek, go elsewhere if you're not proud of this country until some leftist takes over the country. It has much to be proud of, including the Civil Rights Movement, including the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, including the entire history of this country. Is much to be proud of. So she can take off. Ben Hashem says, are you familiar with the prophecies of Kim Clement? Most of it's about Trump. No, I'm not familiar with it. Ben, maybe someone could share what that is at some point. Let's see. The left is losing their minds about Kung Fu. Off to Club Duvet. Oh, well, you're going to take a nap there. Hey, good to see you. Not a traffic light, it's a robot. Okay. Listen, for those of you who are longtime followers on the channel, or when I say long time, I've only been around for a few months with this, but you've heard me say this before, so this is for the new folks. Listen, my one trip many years ago, I was in South Africa, and I think I was driving in Joburg, and on the street, it was painted, it said, robot ahead. Now, I wasn't that familiar with that usage in South African English, and so I started looking around going, R2-D2? Where's R2-D2? Of course, it meant famously a traffic signal, so that's how I learned what robot meant in South Africa. A robot to us is not a little device that changes lights. It actually does things. Sometimes it says things. That's what robot does. Anyway, so these two, that's Heinrich says, Lego set. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump famously had, I'm going to turn off the membership goal because nobody's signing up. Somebody turn that off. That's boring to watch then. Anyway, so Donald Trump had a rally, for the first political rally, public one in Oklahoma last night. And the press famously reported that nobody showed up. Nobody was there. Of course, they overlooked two very important facets of why there may not have been a lot of people there. In fact, there was a good turnout, and thousands of people outside, and even more watching on cable and online, but millions watching it there. Two things. Number one, leftists signed up for the seats in large numbers with no intention of ever going, so they didn't get in. Now, that's interesting because at a rally I tried to go to in his election campaign in 2016, they didn't even check the numbers, but they've been checking now because of COVID-19, because you have to sign a waiver saying you won't sue the Republican National Committee if you get COVID-19 by attending one of these events. In the past, you got a reservation number, and a reservation didn't matter. They just let anybody in the door. Now they're actually looking at it. So leftists signed up, and they got seats, and then they didn't show up. And the second reason, of course, is that these thugs and these fascists outside were protesting and endangering the lives of people who attended the rally and their property, their cars and such. And so if you see some of the footage of these thugs on the streets threatening people for going to a rally, The Constitution guarantees freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. So what's their beef? If their ideas are so correct and so powerful, then what are they afraid of? What's the harm in letting people discuss something that disagrees with your opinion if your opinion is so right and so righteous? Well, the problem is that, of course, their opinion is not right, it's not righteous, it's bigotry, it's racism, it's hatred, and they don't care. They just hate people. And that's the bottom line. That's what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that's important to know and understand. But Donald Trump had his rally last night, and the press's big takeaway is that nobody showed up. Outright lie and a distortion. If the news report says the crowd was smaller than people anticipated, that's legitimate. But if they further investigate and find out that many of the seats were reserved by leftists who had no intention of going and didn't go to intentionally sabotage the event, and also if they accurately reported on the thugs outside who were threatening the safety of people, then they would have realized the true story, and that would be genuine reporting. But no, none of that's in the news reports. You've got to go find that information either on social media from people who are present or the few news sources that do tell the truth. And I say few, I mean few. Very, very few. Right, where are we at now? So Katie Hopkins is on Parler. Yeah, and when she went to Parler, she took hundreds of thousands of people with her. That's exactly right, Hendo. Yeah, you guys should check out Parler. Anyway, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying you should check it out. Somebody's hot phone with something, I missed it. Oh, the left wing, that's Hendo. Robots. Garrett says, I'm a saffron and I call them traffic lights. There you go. You know, it's funny because like in Botswana, the Botswana who live there, they're kind of confused because they have such long history with Americans, dating back to the Peace Corps and the U.S. being one of the early countries that recognized Botswana, and our ties with them over the years, that they have a mix, and also the fact that the country was never really colonized, it was just a protectorate. And so the Botswana in Botswana, they have a funny mix of English and South African and British Commonwealth English. So they don't say robots in Botswana, they say traffic lights. But they do say some things in their English that is like South Africa and the UK. So it's kind of funny. So when I'm in Botswana, I use both. I use English, Commonwealth English, and I use American English because it goes both ways. Let's see. Empty seats in the front. Yep, that's true. Sloat Steenkamp has donated a stripper chat of 14 Rand. Well, thank you so much for that, Sloat. Really appreciate that. Cool. In Botswana, they call traffic lights a free-for-all. Come on, Gareth. I've lived in Botswana. It hasn't quite been that way. Boy, Hakan Engman's getting a long-time look up there. If you look in the top above the Holliesburg, that has stayed up there. There's something wrong with my new subscriber thing. It used to be the zombie, but now it's not. I don't know what happened there, but Hakan's getting a lot of attention up there, so I've got to leave it up for the next person to subscribe. Let's see. Whoops. Ben Duplessis says, would be interesting to hear how involved you were with the U.S. presidential visit to South Africa years back. No, I wasn't involved at all with that visit. I was involved with the American presidential visit when George Bush was president in Liberia, and that was a fascinating experience. I learned an awful lot about that event and how those things go down and how they prepare all the aircraft, the helicopters, the jet aircraft, and the parties involved, the Secret Service. Quite a fascinating thing. It is quite a roadshow, to say the least. That was a trip when George Bush visited 7 African countries before he finished his time in office. Yeah, Fawn says smash the like button. Yeah, please smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be happy to have folks to smash the like button if you like this. If you don't like it, smash the like button anyway. Joe Emilio. Oh, there's Joe. All right. Wait a second. Hang on. Any idea how much that cost them? Cost too. I'm missing something. Gareth. Anyway. Oh, how much the trip cost, maybe, Gareth? Maybe that's what you're asking. Yeah, these trips are quite expensive. Imagine a couple of C-17 aircraft flying the armored limos and a bunch of gear, communications gear, weapons, ammunition, personnel, lots of personnel, security personnel, political people, Air Force One going along. So those C-17s carry those Marine One, those helicopters, and there's a couple of them that go on each trip, 2 or 3 of them. It's not just a Hollywood thing, that's actually real. Actually, I worked right next to where the Marines who fly those aircraft were based out of in D.C. Very interesting experience. How was loving life, Joe Emilio says? Oh, it was fine. I enjoyed it. Scott was, he asked pretty good questions. He asked a couple questions, kind of conspiracy theory stuff that the people watching the channel were asking about, and didn't really know about the conspiracies, had nothing to add to it. But most of the questions were pretty good. It was a very pleasant experience. whatever beef he and others have. It didn't appear on this channel, and I wasn't co-opted anyway, to my knowledge, which a lot of people said you might be co-opted, but it was a good experience, and I enjoyed it. Not many people came over and subscribed. A few of you came over from there, so thank you so much for that. Usually when I do an appearance on a show, I get a lot of people coming over, but got a few coming over there. Yeah, I think Loving Life, Joe, was a good experience. And by the way, folks, Joe Emilio is a comic based in South Africa, for those who don't know. He's got, Elizabeth just donated 35 through Super Chat, and that was a super sticker. Says, good job. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I take it as an endorsement for what you're getting here on the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the Super Chat, the super sticker. And so Joe Emilio is a comedian based in South Africa, lives in the Western Cape, and he was recently attacked by someone who came on his channel on YouTube, and I think it was YouTube, I don't think it was on Twitter, but came on and attacked Joe and called him a homophobe and a racist Egyptian and all this other disgusting things. Joe got screen captures of that, and the person tried to backtrack. Anyway, long story short, this person slandered and libeled Joe, and so Joe is taking action, standing up for his rights, and not letting people get away with nonsense, because this is part of the cancel culture. Apparently that person contacted a place where Joe was working for and got him fired. And Joe did nothing. Joe said none of the things this person said, did nothing. Just the standard sort of nonsense. Kind of like when I look at some of my videos and I get this, people ranting about things. I'm like, I didn't talk about that in the video. I never discussed that. If you want to comment on this video, then comment on the video. If you disagree with what I say, you're welcome to disagree. If you're abusive, well, that's a different story. We'll have a conversation about that, or you'll be deleted. But I don't censor people's opinions. So anyway, yeah. So Joe Emilio, you can check out Joe on the Joe Show. That's here on YouTube. Just type in the Joe Show or Joe Show, the Joe Show South Africa, and you'll find Joe. He's got a little character. He's got a big red symbol there. Check it out. He's got a 3-minute, 23-second video about how she tried to cancel him. It's a really good video. Joe, last time I looked, you were over 800 views on that, which is pretty good for 24 hours. But consider checking out Joe's channel and subscribing to it. I haven't seen Herman Ruse here tonight. Hey, Herman, if you're here, I'll give a shout out to you. Let me see. Smash the like button. Okay, so we're over half an hour into the stream, folks. Let me just say thank you all so much for tuning in. You're listening to Indaba Africa. This is Chris Wyatt on the Chris Wyatt Africa channel, coming to you from Central Pennsylvania, talking about geopolitics, and specifically in this case, South Africa. Kind of a wind down, a wrap up from my appearance on Loving Life just before this stream. And for those who tuned in, you're wondering where Giselle went. Giselle didn't go anywhere. I just didn't play her music because I started the program late. So let me do what I usually do here, folks. And for those who know, what I do is I offer some free advertising to businesses in South Africa. So let me just cover a few of those things very quickly. And the first one I want to mention here is Shink Art. Shink Art does caricatures, and they're based in Bloemfontein. And what Shink does is you contact them online at shink.co.za, and they'll make a caricature for you. You don't have to go out on the beach or the promenade and get some dude to make one and sketch it up for you in 5 minutes. Actually, what you can do is you tell them what you're looking for, send them a few photographs of what you want, and they'll draw up a pencil sketch. They'll send it back to you and say, is this the right way to go? And if you're happy with it, or if you want them to alter it, they'll alter it, and then they'll produce it for you and send you the electronic copy. There you see a caricature of me at the Rugby World Cup in 2019 wearing the jersey that I'm wearing today when I was in Japan. So shink.co.za, and no, I didn't get no money from them. This is purely to help them out. I paid for that character. So there you go. So that's Shink Art. Check them out, and here's a little video for you. And that's Impulse Graphics. That's from Talon Bezuidenhout. And he is the person who provides the opening and closing animations for my channel. Very kind of him to do that. So I just pay it back so that folks know about it. If you need some graphic design help, check out Impulse Graphics. That's impulsegfx.co.za. Impulsegfx.co.za from Talon Bezuidenhout. Check it out, and you may find some help there for something you're looking to do. So anyway, so just a little bit, other businesses I do help out as well. That's the only two I had on stock right now for today. So just want to point those out. And thanks for tuning in, 30 minutes plus into the stream. Let's see what else I've missed here. I already covered Sloat's super chat, his stripper super chat. Thank you for that. Sloat, did you want a little dance? I know Ronaldo does dances. If you want a little dance, just say. Carl Rautenbach says, Joe Mina, don't talk about Buc-ee's. Okay. What was that? Sorry, what? Oh, okay. Gareth says, it was a great interview. Well, thank you, Gareth. I enjoyed it. It was actually fun. And Carl Rottenbach says, loves the current battle of ideas needed for a long time. I think so. I think people who are rational, who are cogent, who are honest and share, and if you're honest about who you are and where you're coming from, then you can have a good discussion. And that's what I'm trying to do on my channel. So, and for those of you who watch the channel, or those who don't watch the channel, just new to the channel, you'll notice that I have a wide variety of guests. I've had the former program manager for DynCorp, who helped me rebuild the Armed Forces Library. That was my first Saturday live stream. I've had a small-scale commercial farmer from Ghana, Evans Larrabee, on the program. I've had Ovigwe Egu, a Nigerian security specialist, talking about Lake Chad Basin in Nigeria. Komi Klu, a Ghanaian American, talking about debt in Africa. Toyin Usemari, a Nigerian American, talking about trade and investment in Africa. And I've also had special features with Renee Kruger, Boermeisi, talking about Afrikaans culture. And I've had Ronaldo Hoz on my program, Roman Kabanak, going to get Germ Warfare, Big Daddy Liberty coming on here at some point. Unati Kwaza was on my program last week, a fantastic stream, actually the best day ever for viewership, hours watched on the channel, so thank you all so much for that. Lots going on. I'm trying to get all kinds of voices on here. And I've had, of course, the Conscious Clerical on my channel. That was a really good stream as well. And so I'm sure I've left some folks off. But I also do thematic ones. So I've done one on viruses and epidemiology. Also, famously, for those who aren't aware of it, when the NASA SpaceX Falcon 9 Crew Dragon Demo 2 mission, that's a long one. When that mission launched, we watched it live on my stream, and I gave commentary on it. Of course, I didn't talk during the launch in the first 15 minutes or so when they were actually getting into space. But it was really cool. And check it out in my past live streams. Nigel says, thanks. You're welcome. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yanni has Joe Emilio's response to Nikki Arison. Is it Nicey or Nikki? It's Nikki. And then Ben asked, did I watch the Tulsa rally? I did not. I actually fell asleep last night. I was quite tired. I've been running full speed the last several days, and so doing research, working on my lawn, and also running streams and making videos. So I was kind of tired last night and actually fell asleep and woke up after it was over. But I'll watch some of it later on. Monkey Pushing Wood, biggest question of our time is race. We see blacks and commies ripping down USA and most of Western Europe. Yeah, no, but see, Monkey Pushing Wood, the problem is it's not blacks. Most of the idiots running around this country doing this nonsense are white Americans, leftist. They outnumber blacks on the streets by a wide margin, the ones terrorizing the country. Now, there are black terrorists and leftists that are doing similar things, but it's not black Americans by and large. It's leftist whites and some of their willing accomplices. Ina is working early. Well, have a good night, Ina. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here as long as you could. Doc Breaker says, thank you for the excellent Gettysburg tour via your videos. Enjoyed them tremendously. Well, Doc Breaker, it's my pleasure. It was a beautiful day, and there was a rumor that Black Lives Matter and Antifa were going to destroy and vandalize monuments at Gettysburg, which is a massive site, folks. Hundreds of acres with, I don't know how many monuments, hundreds if not thousands of monuments for Union and Confederate side, plus cannons and all sorts of things all over the battlefield. So I went down there to take a look at it and get it, because it was a beautiful day, and I figured let me film some videos for my viewers because people don't know much about Gettysburg, and even if they do, it's kind of cool to do. Beautiful weather. So I did the driving tour part of it. I know the tour. I've been there hundreds of times. And it's kind of out of sequence from a chronological sequence. So I filmed it and I posted it live, went on to the next one, posted it live using my mobile network as I went along. Fortunately, I have unlimited data. And then what I did is I came back to the house. As I said on my channel, I don't monetize any videos under 5 minutes. I think it's ludicrous to expect people to watch a commercial to watch 90 seconds of a video or 30 seconds. So I never do that. So all of those were unmonetized, so anybody can view them without any commercial interruption. And then what I did is I put them all together into a 17-minute or so video in chronological sequence with an opening and a closing explaining the Battle of Gettysburg and the key engagements. And so thank you so much for that, Doc Breaker. I really enjoyed making it, and it hasn't had a lot of views, a couple hundred, I think, but hopefully people enjoy it going forward. Yanni says, Nikki is definitely not a nicey person. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, the main speakers of BLM are the leaders of most leftist whites. Yeah, exactly right. Ben Hashem says, I work in black mixed townships in South Africa. Most are against the NC. I believe it's the same in the USA. Most are against the riots, but afraid. Yeah, I think that's right, Ben. And famously in South Africa, it's very few black South Africans who object to the ANC that they're willing to stand up, either because they're not in a safe, secure financial position, or a political position, and I understand, I empathize with that. It's difficult to stand up to the man when, or to the nonsense when, either or, the man or the nonsense, when you don't have a secure position. You really risk a lot there. I understand where people are coming from. Yeah, less excuse for that in America, where many people are safe and secure either in their incomes or their homes, at least before COVID-19. Yeah, please ask more questions, folks. Happy to take some questions tonight if you've got them. Can you invite Jared Taylor and debate for race, CivNets versus race? I don't know who Jared Taylor is, so I'm going to copy that down and do a little search on that. Monkey, racist. No. Anyway, so Jared Taylor. I don't know who Jared Taylor is, but I can try to get Jared Taylor on here. What's going to happen tomorrow with the taxis in South Africa? We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen tomorrow in South Africa with the taxis. Yeah, the government is off the rails in South Africa, the ANC. Their efforts to deny relief funds to minority-owned businesses, whether Indian, colored, or white-owned. And, of course, the consequences of those businesses failing, with many of them having 2/3 of their employees being black Africans, black South Africans. The consequences of that are incalculable, what's happening across the board. And the behavior of the African National Congress in its racialization of the entire country. Famously, listening to Cyril Ramaphosa talking about rebuilding the economy, and also that it's up to white South Africans to rebuild the economy. Really? That were the ones who driven into abject poverty by denying them relief funds that were given by rich white South Africans for the most part to help all businesses, not simply black businesses, but all businesses? Yeah, it's going to be a little hard for white South Africans who live in abject poverty to do anything to help the country recover when you've destroyed their livelihoods. Cyril and the National Coronavirus Command Council, headed by the Minister of Uncooperative Governance and Irrational Affairs. There you go. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. If I must point out, liking South Africa Rugby World Cup jersey. Well, thank you, Bosch Zebra. Yeah, it's kind of cool. This is the 2019 one, folks. Let me stand up here so you get a little bit better view. So there you go. Yep, 2019 right there. I do have a T-shirt on underneath it, but this is from Japan. I didn't like this white collar so much. It's kind of lame. But, of course, I also don't like the fact that there's no Springbok here. Stupid Protea. Sorry, there's stupid Protea, and then the World Cup thing. The Springbok is actually on the sleeve. You see him right there on that sleeve, and then on the other side you have Webb Ellis. This is kind of cool, the yellow stripe here, but I don't like how they've tried to eliminate the Springbok from the emblem of the Springboks. That is who they are, and it's not a racial thing. The Springbok is an animal. It's an animal. Anyway, and it jumps. Anyway, so there you go. Let's see. Back to the comments here very quickly. The media was babbling on about Trump's racist speech. I read some, I couldn't find racist. No, there are no racist remarks. Okay, so of course, famously, if you listen to the media, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is a homophobe, right? Ooh, yeah, he's famously a homophobe. Yeah, he hates the LGBT community. But aside from the fact that he rescinded the authorization for the Department of Defense to pay for sex reassignment surgery, gender reassignment surgery, and that's not a gay issue. If you're trying to change your identity, it has nothing to do with homosexuality. You're becoming a different gender. But that's an undue cost on the government and causes all kinds of problems within the force. And so this policy was rescinded by Donald Trump. That's the only thing, even tenuously, that someone can claim he's done that's been anti-gay. What has he done? Richard Grinnell, one of our most important diplomatic posts in the world, London, Berlin, Tokyo, arguably those are the three most important, maybe Beijing are the four most important, and Canada, I guess, but not so much these days with Trudeau up there and his nonsense, his busy being blackface. We don't want to be associated with Canadian politics. But those are three of the most important postings around the world. And what do? He puts Richard Grinnell, an openly gay man, a conservative gay man, in as ambassador to Berlin. And what happens in Berlin? The Germans start attacking him. Why weren't they called homophobes? Because he's gay? They're not allowed to dispute his politics. Well, of course they can't, because he's a conservative. But Donald Trump has put more openly homosexual members in key positions of government than anyone in history, any administration, including the famously wonderful Barack Obama, and the same with minorities. But he's called a homophobe. Of course, there's no merit to it. So they say his speech last night was racist. They call him a racist all the time. Please, show me the thing that Donald Trump did was racist. Oh, that's right. He called Mexicans rapists and murderers. Only he didn't. He said that many people coming across the border were rapists and murderers, and he is correct. He's absolutely correct. It doesn't make him a racist. A lot of Mexicans consider to be white people. How can you be racist against your own people? I guess you can be. Anyway, yeah. Yes, I know, Doc Breaker, there's a reason why they moved the Springbok. The same reason they tried to get the name change, and also why Saru implemented race-based goals for team membership, which famously, thankfully, what happened was Rossi Erasmus was able to get away from that, at least in the short term. Yep. They say Kung Flu is no. Kung Flu is just in bad form. It's disrespectful and rude. Let's be honest. I mean, it's people think it's funny, but it is kind of disrespectful. But it's not racist. You know, anything that upsets somebody's feelings or sensibilities is called racist. It's not racist. I mean, saying Kung Flu doesn't mean you think you're better than Chinese. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means you're in bad form and you're maybe rude. It's like, you know, when they say that Trump was racist because he blocked flights from China. Seriously? That's not racism. China is not a race. Chinese is not a race. It's a ethnicity. It's a group. Asian is a race. Black is a race, if you want to call it that. White is a race, if you want to call it that. But Chinese is not a race. It's a nationality. These people can't even get their arguments right. So, yeah. Chris, you should learn the word hotful. Oh, well. Now, Hank Adrian say, that's very much an African thing. So you told me I should learn the word hotful. I think what you're looking for there is I should teach the word hotful to other Americans. Yeah, actually, I've thought about making a hotful brand, kind of like Ronaldo Hose has done with the Sec line. But he's really onto something that's cool. I don't know if the hotful is going to really catch on over here. But let's see. Yeah, hotful. Love the way you got the most stripper chats with the Sharks. Oh, yeah, Tian. Well, listen, you know, feel free to do a stripper chat now, Tian, while I've got the Springbok jersey on, if you want. The British called the South Africa, the Springboks, as an insult. That's what they did, like the Kiwis and Wallabies. Yeah, exactly. People forget about that. Bolton's lunatic, Canadian politics. Yeah. I wonder if Biden must be reminded every morning that he's running for president. The font says, yeah. Well, every morning, every hour, he's got to remind it. Hey, Joe, you know, it's 2020. You're running for president. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Can you all do me a favor here? Yeah. Yeah, Sleepy Joe Biden. What's your favorite movie? Did you like 13 Hours? I have 13 Hours, and I've never watched it. Yeah, I've just not gotten around to it. I bought it on Blu-ray, and now my Blu-ray player crapped out. It ate up one of my Doc Martin discs the other day, so I'm tempted to get a hammer and smash it to bits, although apparently I can reset some buttons, but I couldn't get the disc out. So I don't have a Blu-ray player on my main TV right now because that thing died on me 2 days ago. But yeah, I've been meaning to watch 13 Hours. I'll get around to it. I know more than I should know about that situation. I was assigned African command, not in Europe, but in Africa when that happened. I can talk more about that after I watch the movie, Elizabeth, but not really. You can't really respond to it now. Paul Roos toured England with the first international team. Oh yeah, you guys are talking about the Springboks. And the jerseys weren't green. Yeah, that came later. Removing the Springbok, Leon Schuster, Steve Hofmeyer statues, all are part of the plot to destroy Boer Afrikaner nation. Well, as long as, also with the renaming of places, right? Okay, Tswana, for a mythical, undocumented king who there's no records of, in a place where there wasn't a settlement for Pretoria. It was the Boers who arrived there and created that settlement. Before that was just transitory people in that spot where Pretoria came. And renaming it to Tswana, not particularly offensive, but there are clearly some things that are out of bounds. I mean, the renaming campaign, when it first got steam, it was renaming places like Kaydorp. I say Kaydorp, I won't say the whole word. That's probably not appropriate, and I can understand renaming a town for that. Also, coming up with province names like Mpumalanga, that makes sense. I'm okay with that. You know, that's not a big problem. But the wholesale renaming of places in South Africa is intentional, as well as the elimination of Afrikaans medium from universities that are historically Afrikaans, like Stellenbosch, yes, or UCT, seeing those things go away. This is an intentional effort to undermine and destroy South Africa's Afrikaner and Afrikaans and Boer culture, which are all protected by the Constitution, but not under governance of the ANC. I must watch Ronaldo's Sunday debate from tonight. Would like to know your thoughts. Okay, Joe, I'll do that. Other people said I would be wasting my time watching it, so I will watch it and we'll see what comes up. D-Stu says reprehensible Biden's family supporting his run for president was so obvious he has memory problems. It's reprehensible that the Democratic Party is supporting him. They should retire him to medical care and see what's really wrong with the guy. Tina Cook says, hi, Chris. Which do you think will be better for South Africa for SA as Trump? Well, Trump, of course. Absolutely Trump. Absolutely Trump. I think that in a second term, without the distractions that have come so far with the fake impeachment, the fake Russian collusion narrative, the fake Logan Amendment, the fake COVID-19 hysteria, all these things removed from the equation, they'll come out with new things. Don't get me wrong. There'll be new things out there. But the removal of those things, Trump not worrying about ever having to run for office again because he'll be done, mic drop, boom, second term, that we should see some very serious policy initiatives early in his second term. And maybe South Africa will be addressed. So if you're South Africans, you should be hoping that Donald Trump wins the election, if you care about South Africa. Did I see NDC's response to court papers regarding legal security? I did not see that. I'm looking forward to reading that, Fonz. I'm sure that she made some nonsense about health. She is a doctor, or so she claims. Gareth says, what are the repercussions of labeling Antifa? Oh, that's a question you ask in Living Life and Loving Life, and I didn't get to it. The repercussions of labeling Antifa are really not much in the way for the country or for politically the backlash for Trump. It's already happened. They've already attacked him. It's done. There's not really much more they can say about it. But the repercussions for Antifa are severe. Now the federal government can legitimately get warrants to listen to their communications, to intercept their communications, to interdict them, can use the FBI and other federal law enforcement to arrest them for committing crimes based on being a terrorist organization, things in the furtherance of terrorism. Before that, the crimes were local crimes for state jurisdictions that the federal government didn't have jurisdiction over. And so it was limited in its response. But now that they're a terrorist organization, well, they've always been a terrorist organization, but now they've been declared one, the federal government has a lot more leeway in dealing with them and cutting their capacity to misbehave. Now, will they do it? It's hard to say. The FBI is clearly full of deep state people who are there to undermine the Constitution, not support and defend it. Now, some people in the FBI are going to take umbrage with that, but I'm sorry, Andrew McCabe and the list of all these other people, what they did, Lisa Page, what's going on there, what's been going on there, the subterfuge taking place in the FBI, these weren't low-level operatives. They weren't, new agents in the field. It wasn't a local field office. These are senior people in the FBI who subverted the U.S. Constitution and abused their authority for political purposes, intentionally plotting a coup against an incoming and then sitting president of the United States, and denying Miranda rights to a 3-star general by lying to him, claiming he wasn't the subject of an investigation. Everything after that conversation is fruit of the poisonous tree, and it all should have been excluded. But no, they threatened the guy. They threatened his son. They threatened to bankrupt him. And in fact, they did bankrupt him with legal fees. And so he succumbs to state oppression and state pressure. Of course, I'm talking about Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, of whom I'm not a big fan, and I've covered that before. Who's gorgeous? Who are we talking about? Who is gorgeous? Somebody's gorgeous. Kaylee. I missed something here. They're being disingenuous ANC with regards to cigarette bans. But yeah, not a surprise. Zuma is not a qualified doctor. Didn't say she was. I said she claimed to be one, Hendo. In Kaylee. What appointment? Who is Kaylee? Who is Kaylee? What are we talking about here? Which Zuma Jacobs a doctor? China game. No, not him. Her. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She claims to be a doctor. She was a minister of health at one stage, but she's been a minister of everything until they couldn't do anything with her. They finally shipped her off to the African Union and made her Addis's problem. By the way, I was in Addis Ababa when she was the chairperson of the African Union Commission. You want to talk about somebody who's unpopular, nobody ever want to talk to? That would be Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma up there. Kaylee McEnany. Oh, Kaylee McEnany. Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, no, she's quite effective at that job. That's a tough job, ladies and gentlemen. I feel for people who get it. Really tough situation to be in. All right, so we're coming up on an hour. Is there any topic that you guys want to cover? It's a Sunday. I'm not going to do a 3-hour stream like when Joe Mello came on my channel and tried to turn it into the Friday alcohol show. Wow. Joe can't fit his opinion into less than 200 characters. Okay, Heinrich Becker, shame on me. You said Kaylee. That doesn't mean anything to me. Somebody said Kaylee. Then somebody said McElhaney, and I know who you're talking about, and I've answered that. I think the chat's behind what I said. Anyway, Joe Mio says Jimmy was a little open more. Oh, okay. But Ronaldo proved he's not a centrist. He doesn't have some. He does. Okay. Bobby B. Oh, that's Bobby B. is famously in the land of liberty, New England. Unfortunately, controlled predominantly by leftists these days, but a very independent streak in New Englanders. Bobby B says, someone asked you to talk more about Area 51 a few minutes ago, and I would like to hear that too. Oh, I missed that entirely. Sorry about that, folks. I wasn't ignoring it. Area 51, what do you want to know? It's in Nevada. It's owned by the U.S. federal government. It is an air base controlled by the Air Force. And are there aliens out there? Well, I watched the movie Independence Day with Will Smith, and I'm convinced there are aliens. No, just kidding. No, it's a test site in which they test new technologies, and as a consequence, a lot of controversy has been around it. Hollywood loves to use it for their foil for plots from television shows to movies. And yeah, so they've actually tested things out there like stealth bombers and things like that. And so people don't hear these hypersonic aircraft flying by and they think that it's a UFO. I don't know, maybe there were aliens there, but you guys are talking about Roswell, not Area 51. She graduated KZN. We're talking about MDZ, I guess. Beer and Coke. It's not that bad, but try Sprite. Yeah, you're talking about Sprite, yeah, Shandy. They call it, no, it's called a Shandy, and it's called a Radler in Germany when you mix those two. Let's see, we'll go for 3 hours if the beer comes out. Hendo. Well, Hendo, I'm going to need a lot of energy there, to go 3 hours. Yeah, so Joe Emilio says, foolishness sometimes both refuse to admit that the ANC is at fault in some way. Jimmy agrees BE has failed, but thinks it needs to be fixed. No, it needs to be gone. BEE needs to be gone. It's a race-based discriminatory policy that undermines enterprise, initiative, thrift, desire, and success by handing out government access to people who are not qualified based simply on their physical appearance. That is wrong morally, it is wrong legally, and I don't care if it's a law in South Africa, it's a law that is incorrect, and it's a law that must be changed and removed. It's utter nonsense. And for people, anyone, this Jimmy person, to think that it just needs to be changed means that they are passive bigots. Joey Mail, he refused to believe the ANC has failed. No, I don't think that Ronaldo said that. I'd be surprised. Maybe Joe said that. B will fail. B fails every day. Ronaldo doesn't convince me of much, Joe. Oh, okay, Sean. Okay, hello. Joe says it was odd to watch. He admitted that the government has failed, but then he said one generation not enough time to fix. Oh no, because not enough people suffered. So more generations must suffer. Yeah, no. Listen, BEE is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster, and it is something that harms all South Africans except for ANC cadres and the elites with their fingers in the pot and those who get the contracts and then fail to deliver on services. That is what BEE is. Yep, absolutely right. Bosch Dever says, heard about Egypt's possible intervention in Libya. What are your thoughts following your previous videos in Libya? Yeah, I don't think that the Egyptians should get involved in Libya. I think that's a fool's errand for them. Let the foolish Americans and the Emirates and the Turks and all the other fools that have stuck their finger in the Libya pie get smacked on the toe and get their toe stubbed. The Egyptians, there's very little for them to gain there. From my perspective, they don't need to worry about influence. They should stay away from it. It's not in Egypt's interest to do that. Now, interestingly enough, if they get involved, they'll be likely using American military hardware because we sell it and give it to them, and probably have officers led who've attended our institutions. Like, for instance, I had students at the Army War College who were Egyptian generals. So I hope they don't get involved in Libya. That's not something that Egypt should do. Egypt has enough problems of its own, including its disputes with Ethiopia and the Highlands Water Project. And they really need to focus on Egypt itself and recovering their economy in the aftermath of the Wuhan coronavirus or COVID-19 hysteria. Let's see. What's new for the week ahead on your stream? Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Good question. So, all right, don't have firm dates, but the one date I do have firm this week is on Friday on my stream on a special feature. I will have Scott Balson from Loving Life, the guy who lives in Australia but was born in Tanganyika. And I guess he's Australian now, but has a strong affinity for South Africans. I was on his channel earlier. That's why I was late for the stream. But Scott will be on my channel on Friday. Please tune in. I got to double check the time we agreed to. I think it was 8 o'clock South Africa time, which is different than my normal time on a special feature. But that'll be a special feature on Friday. In the meantime, I'm still in discussions with Big Daddy Liberty to come on the channel. Hopefully that'll be this week, but I can't promise that. In addition to that, I have Major General Johan Just, former South African Defense Force and South African National Defense Force two-star general, who later went to work with the South African Park System and now is a private consultant working for some other folks. He's an interesting fellow, and I'll have Major General Just on my channel as well. So that should be interesting. Beyond that, I'm trying to come up with some other folks, but that's I'm taking recommendations. Like, for instance, this is it Jared Taylor? Someone asked me to, I think it was Jared Taylor earlier, anyway, to check into Jared Taylor. People have asked me to bring in the Sightlanders and some others. I'm debating that right now. After what happened with the Sightlanders last week, I think I need to pay close attention and do a little more research on them before I invite them on the channel. Nothing for or against them, just saying that what happened last week. Because it affected my channel. I had someone on my channel who was upset at me because I wasn't up in arms and screaming about something that I knew nothing about. As the Sightlanders terrified people with their prediction of doom, and it affected my channel. I'm not even in South Africa, and it affected my channel. So I'll have to check into that a little bit more. Let's see what else we got here. So Garrett says Democratic Alliance wanted to strengthen it. They lost votes, but it's detrimental to black people for all they want. Yeah, the Democratic Alliance, if you're talking about BE wanted to strengthen it, that was under Mutsi Maimani. I don't think that's the position they take now. If they do, I need to read up more on the DA because it needs to go away. Do you think Soros is financing? Yes, of course. Stu, yes. Soros is financing leftist movements, including the Open Society, which is a very leftist movement that calls for no borders and no sovereignty. How can you exist without sovereignty? You can't. You can't have a polity. It's just stupid. Polity, it's stupid. Boss never agree with something I said. I said both refused. I met Bianca. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. I feel like it's schuss beer, not a sus beer. That's a sweet beer. Schuss, as in like shush down the ski slopes. Shush. Schuss beer. Sightlanders weren't fishing. Would you talk to Phil Craig? Dogbreaker, you missed it. Where were you at on Sunday, Dogbreaker? Yeah, you have a cool handle, but you missed my stream. This past Sunday, my special feature was with Phil Craig from the Cape Independent Advocacy Group. He was on my channel. Guys, you got to look at my streams. Check them out. You can't just rock up and go, oh, there's a stray voltage today, and then why don't you do this? Check out the streams. I did even list, in fact, I'll put that link in here. Let me go find that link very quickly. I actually did list the previous streams on the social media on my website, and so I'm going to give you the link to that. Let me find that under the community tab. So I got to open my channel here. But yeah, I've already had Phil Craig on the channel, and I invited him back. He'll come back at some point. In fact, people ask me if my view changed about Cape secession, and what I said was that I'm curious. I'm finding it curious now. But let me see. I listed these things. So now my tab is moving slowly here. It's that far back. All right, I've been doing a lot on my community tab. Yeah, so here you go. So special features. That was on the 14th, so just a few days back. So let me put that in the stream if it's not too many characters. Okay. Yeah, so that's there you go. That's my 3 most recent special features with Toyin Nusemari last Friday, Phil Craig on Sunday, and Renati Kwaza on Monday of this week. On Saturday, I had Conscious Caracal. So I was very busy this past week with live streams. So there you go. So I actually have had Phil Craig on. It was a very good stream. We cut it off finally about an hour and 45 minutes, but a lot of people really enjoyed it and wanted us to go longer, but we had to be reasonable. So we ended it there. But Phil's very passionate for the Cape secession, and he's got some interesting ideas, and there seems to be merit to the position that they have. Tion says, I wonder if the Cape does get secession, how long it'll be for the other areas, cultures do the same. Yeah, no, I think if the Cape were to be successful in breaking away and forming its own country, that would just be a matter of time before KwaZulu-Natal would try to become its own country because of the Zulu nation. And beyond that, it would be interesting to see what happens, but certainly that would be the case. The rest of the parts of South Africa would be the most successful if it went on its own would be Gauteng, of course, because that's the financial and industrial capital of South Africa. So it could, of course, it relies on products and services from the rest of the country, but it could survive on its own easily, and the Western Cape as well. I'm not so sure. Yeah, the Northern Cape is likely to go because coloreds form the majority there, but there's pretty strong ANC presence and loyalty in the Northern Cape, so I'm not so sure if it would happen. Sean says, what do you think about Germ speaking to the leader of the South African Satanist Church? I think he made a big mistake giving them oxygen. Is that what he had a stream and a funny face on the picture? Maybe that's what his stream is about. I missed it because I was busy prepping for this and the other stream with Scott. Yeah, no, I didn't know he did that, Sean. Listen, folks, you lose people. You can't please everybody, and you shouldn't try to please everybody. So if you try to please everybody, then you're just seen as disingenuous and not authentic. And if you just appeal to one group of people, then you get lots of friends and neighbors in that group that you appeal to. What I try to do is be honest, intellectually honest about what I'm talking about and be consistent. But we all change over time, and some of my views are different today than they were when, say, I was 20 years old. So, for instance, at 20, I didn't have the view that I currently have on abortion. It's very different today than it was when I was 20 years old. much more conservative in that than I was when I was 20 years old. I also had very different views about some of the things that are near and dear to leftists. Not that I was a leftist, I was a conservative, but now I'm far more conservative because I've actually seen how the world works, and I know the nature of human beings. And so when you see people in action, these high ideals have to be tempered by reality and what's possible. But yeah, I don't know what Germ did, and I didn't see that, but I will go check it out. So now I'm going to watch Ronaldo and Germ because you guys told me about that. I was going to watch Morning Shot, but I'll do those two things and see what I missed. Yeah, Joe Emilio says it would be cool to be independent for Western Cape. Well, of course, Joe, you live in the Western Cape. You're not exactly an unbiased contributor to the conversation there, Joe Emilio. Joe Emilio lives in the Western Cape. KZN would be my suggestion. Yeah, Tion, KZN, clearly. The Zulu Nation, with several million Zulus being the predominant ethnic group in KZN. Also, its physical location would make it possible. You've got Durban with a major port. You've got rails. You've got agriculture. You've got some industrialization there. Yeah, it could be a country of its own. And also, it's a big minority group being Indians, subcontinent folks. So, it's very feasible that the KZN could secede if, in fact, secession could take place with the Western Cape. That would be my next candidate. That would be the first place I think we go after the Western Cape, if anyone tried. Bring Joe in the live stream. Listen to Hendo. If Western Cape splits, I'll become your neighbor. You guys are funny. Anyway, let's see what else. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, no, but folks, there's some real serious questions here. Very serious questions here about what happens to the rest of South Africans. Whites, coloreds, blacks, Indians, Venda, Xhosa, and Xhosa especially. If the Western Cape separates, then the Xhosa people will be geographically separated, with a large number of them being in the Western Cape and a large number of them being in the Eastern Cape. Not that that's a problem necessarily. Germans live in multiple countries, ethnic Germans, but it does create a problem. And what happens to minorities? With the racial invectives and the hatred being spewed by senior leaders of the ruling African National Congress on seemingly a near daily basis in South Africa these days, not just being restricted to the lunatics and the economic freedom fighters and their race baiting, but race baiting happening openly by senior members of the ANC government. And white South Africans in the ANC being utterly silent about their own party. You see no major defections of white South Africans who are in the ANC, which is quite disturbing when they hear this racial language come out of the ANC. With that going on every day, you have to wonder what's going to happen to racial minorities and ethnic minorities in the rest of South Africa if the Cape were to break away. All right. Ethnic Germans lived in separate territories by force, and then World War II happened. Yeah, Gareth, ethnic Germans lived, no, not by force. That's not accurate. Okay, let me give you an example of that. So the Germans who lived in Russia were invited by Catherine the Great. Hang on, let me get something to drink, guys. Not a beer. I'll be right back. Give me a second because I'm getting dry here. I think I gained a couple viewers. Once again, once I'm off screen, more people show up than when I'm on screen. That's not a good sign. Anyway, I want to get Starbucks. Okay, back to the ethnic Germans. Okay, two examples. Ethnic Germans were invited by Catherine the Great to settle in the Volga region of Russia. They came in large numbers because she was ethnically German, became the Empress of the Tsar of Russia. And they came in large numbers. And they weren't forced to live there. They went there by choice. They migrated there by choice. And they became ethnic enclaves. In Romania, in Transylvania, what is known as Siebenburgen, named after 7 castles or fortress cities that were created by Germans, the Hungarian king invited Germans starting in the year 1349, I think it was, when it started sometime around there, maybe 1249 or 1149. Anyway, it was in the 12th century, it was 1149. The Hungarian king started inviting ethnic Germans to migrate to the borderland regions of what was Hungary, and that included Transylvania, which was under Hungarian control at the time. They were given exclusive rights to trade as merchants and to build cities which were exclusively for the habitation of ethnic Germans, and also given distinct rights when it came to commerce and agriculture and land, on the proviso that they would serve as troops and owe fealty to the Hungarian king, which they did. And so you had a large ethnic German community, so large that by 1918 in Romania, of about 8 million people living there, over 1 million were ethnic Germans. Now, they were divided into many different groups, the Banat Germans, the Schwaben Germans, And you had some who considered themselves Austrians because it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and their ancestors came from Austria, not from Germany in particular. But you had over 1 million ethnic Germans living there. They weren't there because they were forced to live there. They wasn't divided. They lived there by choice. Now you have Germans that lived in Bohemia and Moravia, Böhmen and Mähren, who lived inside of the Czechoslovak Republic by force, but that's because they're ethnic Germans who lived there when it was under Austro-Hungarian control, which was predominantly led or controlled by German-speaking Austrians rather than the Hungarians, although they did mix. So when Czechoslovakia was created, you found 3.5 million ethnic Germans trapped behind borders in Czechoslovakia. But by and large, they got along for a long period of time until the Nazis came along and then exacerbated some issues. And eventually, those people were, by and large, kicked out. Of the 3.5 million ethnic Germans in the Sudetenland alone, not including Böhmen, or not Mähren, but just in the Sudetenland itself proper, 3.5 million, only 75,000 ethnic Germans remain behind in Czechoslovakia today, the two republics, from 3.5 million. Yeah, so Germans haven't always been forced in Europe to be separated by borders. Now, in France, in Alsace-Lorraine, those ethnic Germans, which became part of France, were in fact separated by political politics. So it's a mix of the two. So let's be clear about that. Anyway. All right. What did I miss here? I got a drink, and you guys got crazy here on me. Garrett says, do you know anything about the new Sultan of Oman? No, I don't. I didn't realize there was a new Sultan of Oman. I'll have to check into that. I missed that question earlier. Sorry about that. KZN takes a bite out of the ANC votes. Yeah, it took a bigger bite before Jacob Zuma, a Zulu, became president of South Africa. And we'll see if they can regain those votes from the ANC. Khoi should be independent, says Victoria Coney. And I think you mean Khoi, as in Khoi-san. Watch German's video first. Okay. Sean thinks KZN will go first. Yeah, if anyone does. Yep. Dogberger says, I have studied the papers regarding Zulu secession in my summary, even before the four trackers, why they never got it was the ports being such important. Durban in particular was critically important. And that's the reason why it didn't become an Afrikaner state, because Durban was so important to trade for the Brits that they were unwilling to let the Afrikaners, the Boers, actually have the republic. Even though there was a brief Republic of Natalia, eventually the Brits came and annexed Zululand, or KZN, what became KZN. Where's the beer? No beer, not today. Tribal trust land in expropriation without compensation. Nope, 2.8 million hectares are not going to be included in expropriation without compensation. Yep, a good point to bring that up, though. Mike Simpson says, after the Cape, the Northwest must be next for independence because most of the gold and platinum mines are near. Yeah, but the problem with the Northwest, Mike, is it's predominantly ANC. Check the votes, check the voting records there. You'll find the ANC is very successful in Northwest. So I don't think that it's going to go anywhere. Most of the whites, what was that? Most of the whites ANC I meant. Okay. Joe ran out of Coke. No, I got Coke. Monkey Pushing Wood says Africa had a population of 140 million in 1900, 2016 1.2 billion, 2100 to 1214. Yeah, well, I don't know if we're going to get that far. That's a serious projection, but Africa's population will be 2.3 to 2.5 billion people in 2050. We'll see what happens there. Thanks for making me feel missed. Hey, Bite Your Ankles. All right, good to see you back. That's the first time I've seen you there. Did we not notice you were here? Welcome back. Okay, so Joe says, been a rough week. Tomorrow's a new one. Going to try and get some shut-eye. Enjoy the evening. Well, thanks, Joe. Have a good evening. Take care. Good to have you along. And Joe's thanking everybody for the amazing support. You're most welcome, Joe. I hope that this works out for you. Robert Zede says maybe the Union of South Africa needs to be dissolved. Well, it's a fair question. I don't support it necessarily, but I think it's a fair question that people can ask. Bite Your Ankles says thank you. Well, happy to notice you there, Bite Your Ankles. You are a loyal subscriber to the channel, and happy to mention you. And Dogbreaker says, oh, you're talking to Push a Monkey. All right, well, let me just do a quick check here, folks. I want to give credit where credit is due. We've had a few super chats and super stickers, so I just want to make sure that we recognize those. Where the heck are they at here? All right, so let me get back to my, that's not what I'm looking for. There's the dashboard. So we picked up a few members today, not a lot. I think some came over from Loving Life, and thank you if you did that. No, excuse me, no new members. Oh, I'll be darned. Last new member. It's not a tumor. The newest members were yesterday. Herman Roos and John Jarvis both joined yesterday, as well as did Shelley Ashurst join yesterday? No, it's the day before. So 2 people joined the site yesterday as members. Thank you for that. But as far as super chats, let's see where the super chats are here. Got a few super chats today, so thank you for that. We got Slot gave a stripper super chat, and I never did a dance for him, so sorry about that. Didn't ask for it. And Elizabeth gave a super sticker, which she said good job. So thank you for those. I want to make sure I didn't miss that. Also, let me just take a quick look at subscriber base here, what we're doing. Started the day just over 3,800. Oh, we've got over 3,900. Well, wow, that was a big jump since I updated. Let me just check very quickly. Thank you all so much for that. Wow, we're approaching 4,000 on the channel. And most of that's just been in a month. So thank you all so much for that. Really appreciate the support. Very kind of you for jumping in and joining. Yeah, Henda says almost 4,000 subscribers. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, Robert so did Ronaldo just end? Wow. Handy Dutchman has a long week ahead, so he's saying goodbye. Rob C., new subscriber from Ireland. Well, welcome, Rob. You'll notice I wear Irish rugby jerseys on here too, because I'm a fan of the Irish Rugby Football Union as well. Ireland, that's right, and I sing the anthem at every rugby game when Ireland's playing. That's right. That's right. I sing terribly, by the way, so I'm not going to sing for you now. But on St. Patrick's Day, if you look on my site, you can find a video of me singing horribly, but getting the words right. So Ireland, huge fan. Big Brian O'Driscoll fan. Loved him as a rugby player. Great guy. Really sad to see him retire, but we can't stay forever. Anyway, so thank you so much for becoming a new subscriber, Rob, from Ireland. Whereabouts in Ireland are you from, if you don't mind sharing? Just curious. Or are you a South African based in Ireland? But happy to have folks from Ireland. I do usually throw a shout out to folks in Ireland joining us. Thank you. Now I need to make sure I do, because Rob has identified that he's in Ireland. Excuse me. So Sean says South Africa becoming a republic was the biggest mistake. I don't know if it was a big mistake, but it was South African independence. Okay, Sean, those are points. I don't know if I agree with them entirely, but there's suck my socks. Oh, that's hey, suck my socks. Thanks for earlier, Chris. Loving life is kind of special and his heart is there. Then you got not so nice idiots try to shut him down. Yeah, hey, suck my socks. Thanks for coming on. Are you a subscriber to my channel? If you're not, please subscribe. Become a subscriber to the channel. Love to have you as a subscriber. I love the username. I remember seeing that on other channels before. It's a great one. So I'm glad you enjoyed the stream with Scott. I found it to be a good experience. I hope everybody appreciated it. So Rob is an Irish South African. Brilliant. So where are you at, Rob? West Cork. Okay, you just said it there. Excellent. I've been to Cork. Lovely place. But my favorite part of Ireland is the Gaeltacht. I loved it out west, Galway, and then beyond that and going up. Lovely area. It's really nice. And then the very extreme southwest of Ireland I like too. Dublin's fine. It's okay. But I really like the southern part of Ireland. It's really, really nice. Ireland does have a great team. And the Irish do know how to party. They really do. Elizabeth says, we love this channel. It's like news, history, and documentary all in one. Well, I'm trying, Elizabeth, and I thank you all so much for your loyal subscribers and also to those who can become members. So, okay, not e-begging, but just sharing because people ask about this. So if you're new to the channel and you're curious at all about maybe you want to become a member, I feel like I'm doing public broadcasting. Yeah, so I'm trying to raise money for Doctor Who or membership drive. Now, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, I've set very reasonable price points and made it available to folks. And this is because people who are subscribed to my channel kept asking me to turn memberships on. So I just did it this past week. We already have 42 members. We got 23 the first day and then 9 the second day and a few more after that, But I haven't really been pushing the membership. So it's just available for folks who might want to join it. So for instance, the thresholds, I call it 3 levels. Recruit and team member is level 1. Level 2 is platoon leader. And why? Because I was in the Army, okay? And number 3 is Master and Commander. And I know that's a Navy reference, but I really liked it. I thought it was cool, kind of mix it up. So from the movie, with Russell Crowe. So Master and Commander. So recruit, team member, platoon leader, and Master and Commander. And at those 3 levels, the U.S. price was $199 a month, $499, and $999. And you're welcome to become a member of the site if you'd like to support the channel. That's fantastic. Appreciate it. If you don't have to become a member, I got lots of subscribers, lots of loyal subscribers. Perfectly happy with that. But you get a few special features and things by becoming a member that others don't. Now, if you're in South Africa, by the way, I can't look up the prices, but when I first said it, they were telling me that membership is 10 Rand, 9 Rand 99 for the Recruit. So that's almost nothing. That's about 60 some cents a month. So it's about a third of the price that people in America have to pay for the same access. So for instance, I'm a member of Ronaldo's channel and I pay like $6 a month, and people in South Africa, so the same thing, pay a third of that price. But it's not about the money. That's not what it's about. It's about creating a special community so people can be part of it. So if you want to become a member, please feel free to become a member by signing up on the channel. If you're not a subscriber, please, that I'll beg for, please become a subscriber. Subscribers can get notified of new videos. And for those who don't know, I do 3 different things on the channel. I do prepared videos in which I do in-depth analysis on a topic that's either current, a contemporary issue, or something that I project for the future. For those who don't know, I'm a retired U.S. Army officer, 36 and a half years of service, former intelligence officer. I worked at the National Security Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, U.S. Africa Command, all over Africa, Tunisia, Liberia, Botswana, Malawi, Nigeria, Mauritania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and 3 tours in Europe, 3 tours in Germany, 1 tour in Italy, and also lived all over the world. So I bring that experience and my analytical experience working at the National Security Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, to bear for the prepared videos. So all of that plays a role. Prepared videos, then what you're watching now, which is Stray Voltage live stream, and then the other thing I do is I also do a weekly live stream, which I interview somebody every Saturday. And that's kind of turned into a special feature thing as well. Oh, we got a little 4-leaf clover over there. That's cool. You guys are falling in love with the Irish thing here. Okay, let me get back and answer some questions. So that was just to let people know about the channel. And again, Rob from Ireland, thanks for joining. Really, really glad to have you here. Robert says, what's your take on A Loving Life? And Scott. Okay, so in the interest of full disclosure, I saw Scott's channel when it first came up a couple years ago on South Africa, and it was an interesting topic, and I watched, I think it was might have been about farmers or something like that, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And I assumed he was in South Africa because I didn't watch much more after that. And then I watched a few videos after that, and it was kind of like my perception, and I say this is reality, my perception was that this was kind of a conspiracy out there stuff, and they're not backing. So one thing you'll find on my channel, folks, is that I do my best to corroborate and get factual information. I do offer lots of opinions. That's what I got paid to do, is offer my informed opinion and analysis. But I tend to want to rely on corroborative sources. It's not always possible, but I do it for the most part. So, for instance, someone brought up the topic the other day in a stream, said that Cyril Ramaphosa is worth $950 million. I have no evidence of that. The only reliable sources I can find say he's currently worth about $450 million, so that's what I go with. Anyway, but on Scott, so I subscribed to his channel, but I didn't watch it very often. And then it kind of fell from my attention for a long time because YouTube wasn't listing his videos for some reason when he was publishing them. And I think it might have been my subscription setting was for the bell icon wasn't quite right. So I went back and looked at it, and then I became aware of a dispute between Scott and Ronaldo, and that made me curious. And then I watched Scott on germ warfare, and I thought the interview was pretty good. Yeah, I don't have any beef with Scott one way or the other. His channel is what it is. He has a lot of subscribers. A lot of people tune in to watch him. Some people really, really back Scott. Others think he's a lunatic. But I'm sure people say the same thing about pretty much anybody on the internet. So anyway, up with the Irish. Great Team Ireland. Galway run is pretty awesome. I love Galway. Bloody Paddy. Here we go with the Irish slurs now. All the mix are coming out. Yeah, okay. Unless you forget your own nation's problems. What's that? Okay. Oops, got ahead. Oh, Elizabeth says membership equals interesting videos. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. I'm trying. By the way, I mean, it's the first week of having membership, and I hope that the members who pay for membership are pleased with the videos I've been putting on there. I'm just putting some different things that I don't make available to everybody. Is the membership tab active, Hendo? It should be. I didn't turn it off. Let me go back to my videos so you can see it. Or maybe that was yeah, it's active. I think maybe Hendo is just trying to get people to sign up as members. Well, thank you so much for that. Hendo is one of my subscribers and one of my my moderators, so thank you for that. So I guess that kind of slipped right past me. Robert said, no, not a new mic. I'm using my Samsung earphone mic, which is not as high quality, but it's not giving me problems. The problem with yesterday's stream, ladies and gentlemen, is that my Yeti microphone, I plugged it into a different USB port, and I think that was why it was a surge. It was a PC problem and not actually the device. Although some people complain there's problems with this mic. I will probably go buy another microphone, which is unfortunate because I really like this one, but not today. It's a weekend. And Best Buy is closed, so that means I have to buy it on Amazon. And right now I'm pissed off at Amazon, so I'm not buying much from Amazon because of their support for Black Lives Matter. So not a new mic, Robert ZA, just using my the one from my phone. And now if I rest it here on my beard, there you go. You guys get to hear the scratchy sounds. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it is. You can't find what? You can't find the join? Okay, D-Stu, if you're trying to join and become a member, if that's what you're talking about, on my channel and on any channel on YouTube that has membership, if you go below the video you currently watch, there'll be 3 buttons to the right-hand side, below the thumbs up, thumbs down, and or at least 1 button there, subscribe and join, 2 buttons. So there's a join button. You click on the join button and you can become a member of the channel. And you can check it out. By the way, just a warning up front, if you become a member of the channel and you cancel, your money's gone. YouTube takes the money if you sign up for 5 minutes. But otherwise, on your credit card, it's a recurring thing. You get charged each month. That's why I've set the level at $2 for those who want to do it. So it's not a big commitment, but you get access to special things. And again, I did that because people asked me to do it. Not because I'm trying to make money. Trust me, I'm not making much off this channel. That's not the intent. That's not the reason I created this. Yeah, Dee was asking about how to become a member. There's a join button there. If you have an account set up on a credit card with Google, then you'll be able to join right now. Otherwise, you have to put your credit card information in, I think. No join button on your stream. Are you on a mobile phone, D-Stu? If you're on a mobile phone, that's probably what the problem is. On a mobile phone, functionality for YouTube is limited, so that might be what's going on. Oh, Tion just asked that. Thank you. What do I think of Yuri Bezmenov taking on What's Happening in America? I've not heard that. Now, someone's mentioned that name before, Yuri Bezmenov. I'm going to have to check into that monkey pushing wood. I want to keep saying punishing wood. But yeah, there's where Jared Taylor is. I saved it in a text file. I'm not familiar with that. Tucker's really going off on Chaz, land-based Republicans. Well, Tucker Carlson is the one true journalist out there who is doing his best to bring issues to the fore and warn people. If you go back to early January of 2020, Tucker Carlson is virtually the only journalist on the planet who has a mic. Others don't have a mic. Who has a mic, who warned people in early January that something happening in China was bad news. Wuhan virus. He warned people in early January, and he was right. And he's been right about the overreach of the state. He's been right about how they misled us on the fatality rate, how they misled us on how masks do or don't work, how they misled us on so many things. Now, I'm not saying that governments did this because they were being malicious. Often they did it because they didn't have enough information, but they don't have humility to admit when they're wrong. Or also to be honest and say, this is our best effort, this is the best we know. Oh, by the way, last week when we told you there was no value in wearing masks, now we're saying that you should wear masks under these conditions. No, they're not willing to do that. Just, they're right, you're wrong, and if you don't believe them, you don't believe in science. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, they're wrong repeatedly, chronologically, and endlessly. And a little humility from governments around the world would be nice, including from the ANC and from the governor of this state of Pennsylvania. Would be a really nice change of pace. Elizabeth off the bed. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Tucker's cracking up on Fox. Yeah, I haven't watched Tucker tonight. I have to go back and check that out. He's brilliant. He'll probably be shut down. Yeah, that would be interesting, D. I wonder if they will shut him down. They got rid of Bill O'Reilly, who millions of people tuned into every night, by reporting that he'd had sexual harassment charges against him and they'd been settled. Yeah. So what's the issue? The case was settled. Why was he kicked off the channel? I had lots of issues with Bill O'Reilly, but most of what he did, I think he looked out for people. He got a little too inflated in himself and a little opinionated, as if only he knew the right answer, and that's the issue I have with him. It's not in DNA, politicians typical. Yeah. Sean, I agree, but at least he speaks up. I don't have to like the guys, but I appreciate they speak up and take the flag. Tucker's brilliant. He'll probably be shut down soon. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, so I don't know. Was it D-Stu that was trying to? Yeah, D-Stu. I don't know if you're on the mobile. If you're on the mobile, that's probably what the problem was. Yeah, trying to sign up. Okay, so Sky News Australia also cracks you up with the truth. Yeah, Sky News Australia is pretty good. Sky in the UK is okay, but not nearly as good. Yeah, okay, folks. So what else we got here? Let me get a couple swigs off my Starbucks here. You've become a member on other channels on your iPad. Well, these two, if it's not showing, I don't know why. My apologies for that. Maybe after the stream you can go back, and if you want to sign up as a member, you can do it. But I'm looking at my channel right now, and I see it, and others can see it. So YouTube can be a little strange at times. Some features are not there. But the biggest problem you experience with YouTube is that if you're on a mobile, it can be frustrating. You're trying to do certain things, and you can't do it. But anyway, many thanks to everybody who's pushed us up to 3,900 subscribers today. It's really awesome to get that. I appreciate you guys joining as subscribers. It's awesome. Those who became members, really cool too. But yeah, so the Loving Life thing, Oh, we nearly 100 likes? Are you serious? We still got 67 people watching the show. It's probably 67 people have already smashed the like button. If you haven't smashed the like button, please feel free to smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate that. The more likes you get on a video, the more likely it is that it will be promoted on other channels, so that when you go into YouTube, you go, oh, what's this video over here? And other people can find out about the channel. Also, if you enjoy this channel, I ask that you feel free to share it with friends and family. And for that matter, if you like it, share it with foes. If you want to trigger somebody that you don't like, tell them about my channel. If they don't agree with these political views, I don't mind them coming on as long as they're not abusive. We're happy to listen to other views and opinions. It also spices the channel up and we get some interesting discussion. I've had guests on here whom I don't agree with in some of their positions. But my role is not to just force my opinions on other people. It's actually to have an open, cogent conversation in which we talk about topics that matter. So yeah, please, if you've got foes, share the channel with your foes and let your foes know about it so they can become subscribers as well and join the channel. 8 likes away. So we're close, huh? Okay. Everything's happening right now is all in the Communist Manifesto, divide nation, win over governments. Yeah, it is true. Absolutely, you'll find it there. Sean is off and off Afrikaanse, so Zeka so Boschleber Madir is elik TV's kommen. Oh, that was a tough one for me to say. Looking forward to your live stream. Your background makes this channel very attractive. Well, thank you. I assume you're talking about the wallpaper background. For those who don't know, just because some people don't know, that is, and actually let me turn off my camera, or I'll just slide over so people don't think I disappeared on. So let me slide over. That is the Olifant's Neck, which is in the Mahalisberg Mountains. And this is on the road, the motorway from Zwarthogens, from Zeerust and Zwarthogens towards Rustenburg. And this is just before you get to the exit for Rustenburg. That's the south side of the motorway. To the left would be the exit for the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. And as you go up this, so there we go, this way. As you go up the road there, the incline goes up and then it drops down the other side. And when you come down, you exit on the left-hand side, because, of course, famously, people in Commonwealth countries drive on the wrong side of the road. So you exit on the left-hand side and turn left, takes you into Rustenburg, go right, go over the overpass, and then turn right again, and you go into the Waterfalls Mall right there for Rustenburg. And so that's what this is. That's Olifant's Neck. It's a very beautiful spot. I took this picture 2 years ago when I was in Botswana, and I was researching for a book on my way back to Gauteng. And so anyway, I've driven this road many times. And I said, I'm going to get a snap of this because it's really beautiful. And so I've just made that my background, and a lot of people really like it, so I haven't changed it. Someone in the Western Cape offered me some photographs early on to put up, and I appreciate it. It was kind of them to offer it. But people really like this picture, so I haven't taken it down. Let's see. Oh, we got to the 100 likes. Hey, there you go. Ooh, yeah. Gareth, do I like Lana Marks? No. What I've heard come out of her mouth is utter nonsense, and I'm not impressed with her. How can she possibly say that the president is spot on? He knows what he's talking about. He's a wonderful person. And then Valdemar Petzer asked her, so when did you meet him? Well, I've never met him, and that was all I need to know. That's just nonsense, political nonsense. She's not talking truth. So not a big fan. Let's see. Getting a generator. You wish Ronaldo and Nati and Scott would kiss and make up. They all have good intentions. Yeah, they all. I think all three of those people do have good intentions. And they're all feuding to some degree. I'm not feuding with any of them to my knowledge, and I don't intend to. Gareth says, we're advocating that Chris... Oh, yeah, okay. No, I mean, send the link to your foes, such as... Got it. Yeah, send the link to... She's not my foe. I just disagree with what she said. Yeah, she is woke. I think that's the problem. D-Stu says, invite Black Lives Matter... Not Black Lives Matter. Oh, no, Big Daddy. I thought that was Big Daddy Liberty. Yeah, that's not going to happen because who am I going to get? I'm going to get someone, and then they're actively going to try to find out where I live and come burn my house down and terrorize my neighbors. And for what? Just to talk to people who aren't rational or aren't going to have a cogent conversation? Yeah. Did I hear that the Marriott Mount Grace in Mahalisburg is... I did not hear that. You know, for those who don't know, Ron just asked a question, did I hear about the Marriott Mount Grace in Mahalisburg is closing down? I did not know that. Also, for those who don't know, the Protea chain, a South African hotel chain, is not South African anymore. For about 8 or 9 years now, it's belonged to Marriott, for those who don't know. So if you have a Marriott Rewards program like I do, because I used to be part of the Protea Rewards program, and then I had a Marriott, so they merged, and you can stay in Marriott in Proteas and get credit in the Marriott chain. But that's a shame to hear that's closing down. Only saw one dislike since I watched the stream. Well, thank you, MetaHuman. Yeah, well, we get dislikes because people disagree. I was on the Loving Life with Scott Balson, and I saw there like 10 dislikes. And I don't know if that's because they dislike the fact that I'm a former military person, a retired colonel. They didn't like the conversation. You never know. People like or dislike. It's hard to say. By the way, everyone in here, if you have a diesel vehicle, make sure you keep it full. Country's diesel is depleted. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Well, that's good advice, Sean. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Ron, they just gave all 3 back to Soho Sun, so might reopen under Soho Sun. Yeah, okay. The Southern Sun chain, renamed in the interest of political correctness as the Soho Sun chain, of course, famously founded by Saul Kersner, a brilliant South African businessman who recently passed away. Had a good life. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. Soho Sun, of course, has its BE certification, and so they can weather this. They've got the capital to do it. Yeah. And of course, Marriott is owned by foreigners, and that's not in the interest of the African National Congress to help the foreigners survive the COVID-19 nonsense. Bite Your Ankles has a Fortuner. Got a fuel lovers. Quite a fuel lovers. Oh, yeah. No. Well, you think yours is Bite Your Ankles? You think yours is? I was in Southern Africa, and I had a Toyota 4Runner, which is sitting in my garage right now. V8, 4.7 liter engine. And I could step on the accelerator and get from 0 to 60 miles per hour, so 90 kilometers in just a few seconds. That thing's a beast. And can you imagine Southern Africa? I drove it all over Southern Africa, and that thing drinks fuel like crazy. I get about 20 miles to the gallon, which is pretty good. It's only rated for about 16 to 17. I was getting 20 miles to the gallon. But of course, in South Africa, when I was living down that direction, you couldn't use credit cards at petrol stations. You could only use a debit card or cash. And I didn't have a debit card based in South Africa, so every time I came over from Botswana, I had to take my dollars, turn them into South African rands in Botswana or in South Africa, but usually in Botswana. And if I did Botswana, I would go from rands or dollars to pula to rand. I'd lose about 20% and then have to buy my fuel. So I'd have to drive around with big, thick stacks of cash, make myself a nice, juicy target for criminals in South Africa just to pay for the petrol. So anyway, yeah. So the Fortuner is similar to the 4Runner, same sort of chassis, but it doesn't weigh as much. And now even the 4Runner doesn't have V8; they only have V6 engines, or 6-cylinder engines. I prefer the V8, very powerful engine. Good morning from Singapore. James Cardahan, hey, good to see you here. Early morning info with your coffee. Well, good. I'm glad it can help you out. I don't have Singapore time on here. I do have on my PC New Zealand, Australia, Tokyo, but I do not have Singapore. And I should probably try to add Singapore since we've got subscribers there. Yeah, we got subscribers in Hong Kong and Singapore, Indonesia. It's really great. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your coffee there, James. Glad you joined in with us now. Land Rover Defender diesel fill up, good deal. Oh my word, V8s are all, yeah. Listen, I had people offer me twice what I paid for that truck because it was in pristine condition in Botswana when I was going to leave, and I could have made big cash off of it. And there was an Indian fellow who said he really wanted it, and then he was out of town when it was time for me to leave, and I didn't have time to wait for him, and so I decided to take it back with me. I bought that truck in 2004. It's 2020, and I'm still operating it, and it's fantastic. It's yet to get 100,000 miles. My 4Runner has been in Germany and all over Europe as a consequence of being in Germany. It has been in Botswana, and so all over Southern Africa, including South Africa, Swaziland, and Zimbabwe, and Namibia, from being in Southern Africa. It's been in Uganda, it's been in Ethiopia, and it's been all over the U.S. And Canada. So I've taken that thing all over the place. Sasol is literally the only oh, you guys are talking about diesel stock, okay? Okay. Yeah, Tion's asking, where are you getting the info from, Sean? Do you work for Sasol? Sean doesn't work for Sasol. Anyway, all right, so what do we got left to cover here, folks? It's a Sunday evening. Some folks need to get to work. It's 11:30 at night in South Africa. This was really a wind down to discuss and answer some of the questions. I think I've answered all the questions for those who were on Loving Life, and we didn't get to them. We got to them on here. So that was really my goal tonight. And beyond that, just to talk a little bit about news about Trump's rally, in which the media is running a narrative which is not accurate. Yeah, it's accurate that the House wasn't full, but there's a reason why the House wasn't full. All right. Oh, he works in fuel filtration. Well, then that would be somebody that would know about the supply of fuel that's out there. Gareth says, got a friend at Sassel, raises and bonuses are BEA only. Oh, jeez. God. Yeah, that's pathetic. Discrimination. Yep, it's not a good thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on 2 hours. I'm not going to go the full 2 hours tonight. Some folks are dropping off. It's late in South Africa. So what I want to do is thank everybody. Listen, if you're new to the channel or you're still with us here, and I apologize to Mr. Carnahan because I'm shutting down, but you can go back and watch the stream from the beginning if you like. He's in Singapore, so the hour is early for him. But so thank you for tuning in. If you like the channel, please feel free to subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free, and be sure to toggle that bell icon so you get notified of my updates and my prepared videos. And then if you're interested in becoming a channel member, you're welcome to do that as well. Very reasonable price points put on there for folks to become a channel member. Feel free to do that. We have 42 members now after just a couple days of that happening. And I do promote businesses in South Africa, as well as my favorite artist in South Africa at the moment, who is Giselle. And we're going to close out the stream with a video from Giselle. This is Plekken in die Zon, and I hope you enjoy it. And stay tuned, because Giselle, someone asked earlier about what's coming on this week. It may not be this week, but soon Giselle will be on my channel. Also, Giselle and I are looking at releasing a co-branded coffee brand, and it may have my own blend. And I know for those who know me, you're like, wait a second, you hate coffee, you don't drink it. Are you a hypocrite? No, because I don't smoke cigarettes, but I own stock in tobacco companies that sell cigarettes, because why should someone else be impeded from enjoying the pleasures of life, even if I don't like them? Lots of people love coffee, and lots of South Africans do. So I'm planning on releasing a coffee brand or blend in South Africa sometime as soon as we get this sorted out. So it's going to be a special blend with South African beans, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, so we'll see what happens if you guys like it. Giselle already has her own two blends of coffee. We're going to come up with a third one and co-brand it, in part because I'm trying to get people to know more about Giselle and her music, and also because people have been asking for things, asking about merchandise and stuff like that. I don't have merchandise on my channel. Eventually I'll offer a few things on there, but that was tied to my consultancy, not necessarily the channel. So that will be coming at some point, but not now. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know about it. Ron says, love coffee, cigarettes, and gin. Okay, cool beans. Boss Zebra says, thanks for the stream and have a lekker day. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to get a little exercise in here. Ron says, Giselle's a lovely day. She is top drawer. She's amazing, and her child is really entertaining. Ellen Giselle, lovely. All right, folks, I'm going to close out with Giselle, and I hope that you guys have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much for tuning in and for sharing everything. And everyone have a pleasant Sunday, what's left of it in South Africa. It's almost Monday there, and in Botswana. And for folks out in Asia, just starting your day off, have a pleasant day today. Here in the East Coast of the U.S., remember, the next scheduled stream is Friday, but I will have streams come up before that this week with special features, and then Saturday, my regularly scheduled stream. But anyway, pay attention for my videos coming up. God bless and have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time. And be sure to check out Joe Emilio on The Joe Show, Herman Roos on Farmer's Travels, and Loving Life, for that matter. All right, thank you so much.